Well, you know who's to blame for all of it? The media, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, because apparently after Donald Trump swept 5 primaries on Tuesday, he is riding a wave of momentum that could carry him all the way to the Republican nomination. And next up is Indiana. That is where he is holding a rally this hour. We're monitoring that for you. But Trump's criticism of the media, of course, it's always been a reliable crowd pleaser, if you've listened to that. His success leads to even more coverage, though. But now Ted Cruz, he's slamming the media, too, for those headlines.
I recognize that the New York media executives and the Washington lobbyists running Donald Trump's campaign both want the campaign to be over. They're desperate for it to be over because they recognize that this campaign has now moved into much more favorable territory.
Well, here is Howard Kurtz, Fox News media analyst and host of MediaBuzz. Hi, Howie. So it's all our fault.
Everybody hates us. It's so sad. Look, what Ted Cruz was clearly trying to do was to deflect attention from that 5-state wipeout where he finished behind John Kasich in 4 of those states by blaming the media, by saying we're just having heart palpitations over Donald Trump. We love Donald Trump. We're liberal. He's a liberal. It doesn't bear much relation to reality. I mean, no presidential candidate in history has probably attacked the media more than Donald Trump. He's gotten an avalanche of negative coverage from pundits on the right as well as the left who don't like him for ideological reasons, from mainstream media types who never thought that he would get this far. And so clearly, the other thing here is that Donald Trump does get a lot more airtime than Senator Cruz because he says yes to many more interview requests than does the senator from Texas.
Yeah, and if you look at anyone's social media that works here at Fox News, I can speak about myself, you probably too, everybody says that we love the other person. You know, Ted Cruz's camp, they get on Twitter and, oh, you're such a fan of Donald Trump, and then Donald Trump's camp thinks that we're all such a fan of Ted Cruz, so we can't win for losing.
That's absolutely right. And by the way, the senator does have a point. There is a growing consensus in the mainstream media that Trump is pretty close to locking up the nomination, not necessarily in terms of numbers, but in terms of his ability to be the closest to that magic 1237 number. It's not because we love Trump. It's because some of us know how to do math.
Well, what about this trying to use the media to change the narrative? Because as you were just talking about that, you know, Ted Cruz, he tried to change the narrative, he and John Kasich, by forming this alliance. That didn't work for them very well. And then he tries to change the narrative by blaming the media. Then he announces his, you know, VP pick, Carly Fiorina. And then most recently, he's in this battle of words with John Boehner, which may work to his benefit because it plays into the whole political outsider argument.
Well, I'll give Cruz a pass on Boehner because Boehner started it with a speech. And when somebody calls you Lucifer in the flesh, you're entitled to respond in the political arena. On this other stuff, this shaky alliance that never went anywhere with Kasich and the naming of Carly Fiorina, I don't blame Ted Cruz. He has to change the storyline. The storyline coming out of Tuesday was that Donald Trump had won the last 6 states, you know, often by margins of 60%, and was rolling to the nomination. And more than the math, Heather, I think the psychological impact of those back-to-back victories was really casting a pall over Cruz's campaign. So I don't blame him for recruiting Carly Fiorina. It may not do him much good in Indiana, but it did get him some headlines. It got him live cable coverage of his speech introducing her, which went on for quite a while. And so when you're in that position where you haven't got many bullets left to fire, you do whatever you can to try to get some publicity. So in that sense, it's worth a shot. I'm just not sure it's going to be effective.
Yeah, all right. So you say media, math, momentum, and psychology.
Psychology, underestimated aspect when you're on president. People think that you're likely to win.
All right, we'll see. We'll see if that happens. Thank you so much, Howard Kurtz. We can watch you, every Sunday, 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Fox News Channel.
Thanks, Heather.
Thanks.